for purpose. Last week we were talking about in Genesis 2 that the man and woman come together and they knew no shame. There was a freedom to be able to come together, to give themselves to one another, to see the point of who the other person is, without second guessing, and without trying to figure out what is it that they want, what are their intentions. There was a natural ability to see what John Paul II calls the spousal meaning of the body. That's a fancy name for the fact that written into our bodies is the language to be a gift. We're meant to be given away. And before sin, that was very clear. That was obvious. Maybe like Sarah saying, "Don't point that at me." There was a clear vision of there's a right way for the person to be used. Today there's a lot of confusion about who the human person is. What's the purpose? What's the point? And so as we look back at the time BC, before concupiscence, before sin, we're able to get an amazing glimpse, insight into the purpose of man. John Paul II says this: in the experience of original nakedness, man and woman not only look at each other, they see each other. They see into each other. Intimacy, broken down, into me see. So there the body isn't a barrier to being able to see the person, but a direct link to who the human person is, to be able to see the whole person, the person that's meant to be a gift, that's meant to be loved and honored and reverenced. I found this great quote from John Paul II. I'll read it to you. It's on the slide, The Gift of the Person. He says, "Every person, in some way, is a gift for us. And we can say of each, God has given you to me. This awareness becomes a source of enrichment for each of us. We would be in grave danger were we to be unable to recognize the richness in each person. Our humanity would be in peril were we to shut ourselves up only in our own selves and reject the broad horizon that opens out to the eyes of our soul as the years go by." How different do you think our world would be if we were able to take that to heart? To see that each person is a gift to be given, a gift to be appreciated and reverenced. It's just coming to me. Muhammad Ali passed away, a year ago? And I remember coming across this story of an interviewer who was talking to him and said, he was very politically motivated and activated. Said, "Muhammad, what's wrong with the world? Or how can we make the world a better place?" And he said, I think the world would be a better place if everyone was as interested in everyone around them as you all are in me. So what's he saying? All these interviews coming out, "Muhammad, what's your life like? Muhammad, what goes into your preparation? Muhammad, what goes into your fighting? What goes into your, this incredible interest and intrigue into who he is and what drives him, what motivates him?" And his response, "I think the world would be a better place if we were able to see the gift," I'm kind of imposing this language, "if we were able to see the gift of each person around us. If we were as interested in the person next to us as we were in him, the world might be a different place." Last week, too, we talked about the love versus lust, and that the opposite of love is not hate, but it's lust or use. And this kind of ties into the being able to see the person as a gift, someone with infinite dignity and worth and value. That all of a sudden we see them not as a person to be reverenced and honored, but to be used and manipulated. And even how that can look differently for men and women. The men, oftentimes, it's more of a physical desire for a sexual urge to be satisfied. Women, it can be different, and usually it's more emotional. It's been said men use love to get sex, and women use sex to get love. kind of both kind of using the wrong thing for the wrong person for the ultimately like wanting the same thing but not knowing about how to do it. And with men and women being wired differently, this can create a lot of hurt and a lot of use. So what's the point? What's the purpose of the human person? What's the purpose of marriage? So this class is going to be a little bit different. We're going to split you up, as we already have, into these different groups. We're going to go BC, before concupiscence, back to the original man and original woman. That union that they were able to have that was without shame. And what did that look like? And there are 4 things that not just John Paul II, but the church has always seen that kind of grounded that union. And those 4 things are the groups that we're split up into. Free, total, faithful, and fruitful. That those are the 4 key fundamental elements of what the union between man and woman are meant to be. So, we're going to split up, and we're going to answer 3 questions in our group. And the first question is, where do we see each of these, namely free, total, faithful, fruitful, in the beginning, before sin? Where do we see that in the human person as described in Genesis 1 and 2? Second question, what does it mean for a couple to be free, total, faithful, and fruitful? And that could be answered in a lot of different ways. There's a right answer, but there are also many right answers and many different ways of seeing a couple entering into marriage freely, totally, faithfully, and fruitfully. So we'll be able to talk that out in our groups. What does that look like? And then also, working down, the third question is, how do we see the free, total, faithful, fruitful dimension of a loving spousal union not lived out today? So where are these essential, fundamental meanings of the spousal union of the person not being lived out today, or even rejected? So I'll be around, but we'll see how it goes, how the groups, I'm thinking maybe 5 to 10 minutes.
Suggestion?
Yes.
Because there's 5 men, can we put all the men together just so we can hear like what they say? Are you guys okay with that?
Well, what do you want?
Equal distribution.
Yeah, and the overspective in each group? I would think that would be more important.
Okay.
I don't know. Anybody else say it?
I think that would be an interesting thing. On the other hand, the combination has some positives to it too.
Right. So let's just leave it as it is.
Let's see, because we have, at
Yeah.
least 1 man in each group. And
Kind of put you in charge, so you guys are going to be together.
Here's the toe. Here's the toe.
Chelsea, you can write.
We have, yeah, and you have
And that's it.
I'm giving you 2 Sharpies because my Sharpies tend to die a lot, so I'm just making sure that you get 2 that work.
Yeah, so you can't read it here. Where do we? In the beginning, Genesis, right?